Hey Yoga fam, Jessie here. Today I am personally very excited to be offering us a little bit of restorative yoga that you can do on a couch, on the edge of your bed with a chair. You don't need a yoga mat if you don't have one for this practice, but you are going to need a blanket or two. You could also use a couple of towels, a pillow or a bolster or a couple of different pillows and bolsters, depending on what you have access to. And then we're going to use the edge of a couch or a comfy chair or um, the edge of the bed, depending on how tall your bed is. So, my intent today is just to offer something nice that helps us connect to our breath and our bodies, which at the root of yoga and what it means as a spiritual practice, as a physical practice, as a communal practice is connection. So, you don't have to work hard to do this. You just get to relax and enjoy. We're going to start on our backs with our legs up on the edge of the couch or the chair or whatever it is you're using. If you have like an ottoman like the one I have here, that would be a great thing to use. So, I'll move this for a second. You're going to swing your legs up onto whatever you've got. And then I like to put something under my knees. So that's what I've got this bolster for. But you could use a pillow, you could use a blanket or a rolled towel. And then you're going to help yourself down. Ugh. And lower your head and shoulders onto your blanket, or if you have a small pillow, sometimes those are nice for this. The only purpose of the blanket under your head and neck is to support you. So when we lay on our backs, the chin will naturally lift and the neck opens, but that actually stimulates the nervous system in a way that we don't want in restorative yoga. We want our forehead to be a little higher than our chin. So, if you take your blanket or a pillow and tuck it up, like I like to tuck the back corners in, I can make a little head cradle and try to get the forehead a little higher than the nose, a little higher than the chin. Sometimes that takes a little doing, a little extra zhuzhing. Sometimes I slip right into a comfortable spot, and that's what's most important is that your head and neck are comfortable. Take a moment to make sure your legs are comfortable. I find that having the knees higher than the ankles feels more relaxing in the hips because it helps set the femur bones deeper into their hip sockets, your big leg bones, into your pelvis. You can do whatever you want with your arms. If you have an eye pillow, you could bring your eye pillow across your sweet little face. Hmm. If it feels safe and easy to let your eyes close, go ahead and let your eyelids get heavy. Tune into the sensation of getting heavier on the ground and on the props. See if you can breathe out a little more air than you take in. Maybe even sighing a little heavier. Or blowing out the extra air at the bottom of your breath. That may start to naturally deepen your breath. And you could stay with that if it's working for you, or you could start to breathe deep through your nose. And don't be afraid to hear your breath. In fact, if you do, use it as a reminder that you are here resting and that the moment we're in is worth noticing. here on the ground with our legs up and our head supported, we're supporting the idea that we need time to rest and digest. Just like our nervous system isn't only fight or flight or only rest and digest, it's both. Our practice on the mat can be that way as well. It doesn't always have to be flow and go. It can be restore on the floor. Oh, it's very corny, but true. If all you did for the next few minutes was be here, you would be doing yourself and your life and the world around you such a service by just taking time to show up and be. We get to recharge. We get to practice being held. We get to just breathe. And so the breath I'm going to offer for the next minute or so in this shape is a box breath. It's the idea that you inhale, um, hold the breath at the top, exhale, and hold the breath at the bottom. For equal counts, or there's different schools of thought of that. If you know a count you like, I'm going to offer an equal parts breath here. So first, we'll just focus on breathing in and out. Go ahead and on your inhale, count how long it takes to breathe in. Don't stress about what that number is. And then exhale to that same count. And take a few rounds of that to try to match your breath up and find a counting pattern that feels easy and good. So, for example, if you're inhaling to a count of 5, try to exhale all the breath to the count of 5. You can keep going with this if it's working. If you want to add, you can hold the breath at the top for that same count. And then at the bottom of your breath out, try to hold the breath out for that same count. You could also halve the count if your count is like 10 and that seems really high. You could do 5 at the top and bottom. So again, for example, inhale 1, 2, 3, hold 2, 3, exhale 2, 3, hold 2, 3. Almost like your breath was a wave or a circuit. If it gets stressful at any point, just let your breath go completely. You don't have to do this breath. If there's another pranayama or breath practice that you like, if noticing the breath is too overwhelming, just stay with the sensation of your body on the floor. The next time you breathe out, sigh out completely. Let it go for a moment or two. That breath is there for you anytime you'd like it. Just give yourself a moment to notice how it feels to be here in this shape. And again, remember, if all you did was this, if you didn't do anything else that was offered today, it would be plenty. But we are going to move a little bit and take a couple of different shapes. So bring your knees up towards your chest. You can either hold in front of your shins or behind your thighs. You could just bring your knees bent with your feet on the couch or chair if it's the right height. We're going to rock around a little bit side to side and front to back. That could be holding your legs or letting your legs move on their own. And then keep your right knee in. Let your left leg come back down onto the support beneath you. We're going to move the right leg bone around in the hip socket, over to one side and then the other. And then hold behind your right thigh and extend your right leg up into the air. Little hamstring stretch for your back of the leg. This is also great for your low back. If you have a strap or a towel or very long arms and you want to bring something around your foot, help yourself. You can also just hold your right leg or even just let your right leg be up in the air for a few. Come back to your breath. Excuse me. If you'd like, you can open your leg to one side and then cross it over the other to stretch your inner thigh and your outer leg. And you don't have to do that if that's not calling your name today. When you're ready, release the right leg. Just take a moment and scan your legs. Observe the way the right leg is still unwinding from the stretch. Is one leg heavier than the other, or maybe it feels longer than the other? Not that there should be a right answer to that, just an exercise in noticing. Bring your left knee in. Start by moving the leg bone around in your hip socket. And then bring your leg into the air, hold behind your thigh, grab a strap or a scarf around your foot if you want, and breathe deep. If you want to open to the side or take the leg across the body, no obligation to do the same thing side to side. You might want something different here. That's okay. We are not in the business of stressing or overdoing anything right now. And those tendencies are just the other part, the other part of our nervous system trying to help us. And we don't need to do right now. We just get to receive. So when you're satisfied with your stretch there, go ahead and let your legs come back down. We're going to keep the left leg heavy. Cross your right ankle over your left knee for a figure 4 stretch. And, this is a pose that a lot of times we hug the knees into the chest, but today we are just going to let the back of our thigh open away from us. We're just going to relax into the props. We're going to let the hips open forward instead of close them in. And we're going to come back to the breath. So maybe that box breath, that equal parts breath is interesting for you. Maybe good old-fashioned Ujjayi pranayama, in and out through the nose is good for you. Maybe focusing on something else like your ankle pressing into your thigh or the back of your head on your support. Just stay here. We'll take a couple more breaths. And then release. When the first side resolves, like when all the sensation kind of gets sorted back into the leg, then we'll go to the second side. But follow your own lead with that. No rush. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. We're just connecting with our hips on the floor. Deep, full breath. When you're ready to come out of that second hip stretch, and bring your legs back down onto the supports. Breathe deep. And bring your knees up towards your chest again. This time, open your arms wide, drop your knees to the left, let them come down towards the floor. They might go all the way there, they might not. Again, we're not in the business of fixing or stressing about it. Just a twist for the spine. You don't have to go as far as you think to get a twist, so don't stress about where it is. Just breathe into what you feel. And come back through center and over to the other side. And then come back through the middle. Legs down. Head supported. Arms open wide or on your body, whatever feels like the right place to put them. And then option 2, bend your knees and bring your feet together and your knees apart. Kind of depending on what your setup is, you may want to scoot your legs in one direction or lift them or move something. We'll take a few moments here in a reclined bound angle pose. And it's going to take us into Shavasana, into our final relaxation. I'm going to offer a little bit of a body scan as we drift into some rest. Feel free to move your legs back to extended or to come off of the couch or chair, whatever you've got, if it doesn't feel good anymore. At any point, if you wanted to stay with your knees bent and your feet together for the entire rest of our time on the mat, you could totally do that too. So take a few moments to get situated, to add a blanket over you if you wanted to cover up and get warm and cozy, or like you can like wrap up your sweater like I'm doing. If you have like an eye pillow or a scarf to put over your forehead or eyes, that's nice. Couple of big breaths all the way out. And allow your awareness to drift to whatever's touching the floor or a prop. And see if from your feet to your head, if you can just notice those parts one by one. As you breathe, those places might shift. There might be more of you on the ground or more sensation of your body on the ground. See if as you breathe, you can increase the surface area. So more breath in means more of you on the floor. Big breath out means even more of you on the floor. Keep breathing. In your mind's eye, you might be able to imagine yourself breathing from a side view. As you breathe in, your body fills up with air. You expand towards the edges. Maybe you can even imagine a glowing light expanding out in all directions from you at the top of your breath. And then as you exhale, everything moves back down towards the ground. The light moves in towards center and gets brighter. Keep breathing. Maybe the image of waves lapping at the shore resonates for you more. Or maybe that box breath, maybe a count really made sense for you. Just imagine yourself breathing here on the ground. Maybe you can zoom out a little bit and imagine the room you're in, where you are right now. If there are other people nearby or maybe sweet little animals, just offer them some positive regard. As you breathe, maybe you send a little of that glow their way. It might be interesting to zoom out a little further and imagine the street you're on, the city you're in, your community, all the people and animals and ideas in it. And breathe some of that positive regard their way, whoever they are out there. You might zoom out even further and see all of us here on our planet, on Turtle Island, floating in space. One big ecosystem, breathing, being, learning, growing, changing, shifting, evolving. You're not exempt from any of that. That's the nature of the world. You don't have to be fully cooked right now. You don't have to be perfect. If all you did was lay here on the floor, it would be enough. Offering yourself the gift of recharging and reconnecting, even just for a few minutes on the ground, is a radical act of self-care, of self-regard, and of service to the world around us. And so as you drift, let yourself rest. When you feel yourself getting back on the loop, just breathe it out and remind yourself that you deserve this time to process, breathe, and be. There is nothing left to do but flow. And begin to notice yourself breathing. And from wherever you are, call yourself back down into your body, into your breath, and back down into our solar system and through our atmosphere, back towards land, back towards your street, wherever you are right now, into the room you're in, onto your yoga mat. Wiggle your fingers and toes. It might feel good to stretch out overhead or hug your knees into your chest. And then roll all the way over to one side and pause there. We were on our backs for quite a while, so give yourself permission to pause here in between rest and awake. And then use your hands on the floor to help yourself up. And find an easy seated position. You get to decide what that means. And And when you get upright, let your hands rest either in your lap, on your legs, somewhere over or in front of your chest and heart. We all deserve to rest. And as a matter of fact, we need that restore, rest, easy time to give that second half of our nervous system a chance to catch up and process and integrate. Especially when life is hard, especially when it's busy, especially when there's a lot of push. There is space, there's room for yield, personal, like you time, where you just get to be on the ground breathing. We're better equipped to go out into the world and deal with hard stuff when we take it a little easier on ourselves. So thank you for sharing that practice with me today. Hail yourselves, yogis, and have an awesome rest of your day.